Right, not sure what the collective name for a pair of triple Bs are. I've got Andy's bike today. I've already put him a set of wheel bearings in, some new brake pads, new gear cable. We've changed his chain and found out that the chain was very, very stretched. It's actually damaged both the jockey wheels and the cassette. So I've just been waiting for a new cassette and jockey wheels to arrive. I'm going to stick them on for him today. First thing we do, let's get the back wheel off. 6mm Allen key, because Andy's got a different rear axle to mine. Mine's a 5. So I'll change the jockey wheels first. I put a pair of my old ones on just to see if that would work, but even with those and the cassette it was still skipping, so we'll take these jockey wheels off first. So it's got a nice new set of NukeProof jockey wheels, which is for a GX cassette, and these have the bearings in the middle rather than the ones I've just taken out, which were for the NX. So they look a bit better than what was on. I'll do them one at a time. I've got to worry about the chain dropping out. So you don't have to tighten these up a lot. Just nip it up. So let's do jockey wheels in. So now what we've got to do is take this old cassette off and put the new one on, and it should, short of a bit of indexing, be just like new. Right, so not wanting to teach anybody how to suck eggs, but if you've never done this before, this may or may not be useful. But to take a cassette off, this is a SRAM NX 12 speed. You'll need a torque wrench, you'll need a chain whip, and you'll need a lock nut remover. For both removing the lock ring and tightening it back up. The reason you'll need a torque wrench is you have to put this up to, I think it's 40 Newton meters. So the job of the chain whip is to wrap around the chain in the opposite direction that you're going to undo the lock ring nut. So that, when you push against it with one hand, should be solid, and the direction you're going in, the opposite direction, is what you're going to undo. That's the tightest lock ring I've ever come across. Right, what is it they say? Never work with children and animals. I've done this job I don't know how many times on my own bike, and I've never ever 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 come across a cassette lock ring nut that's that tight. I don't know what it was torqued up to, but it was certainly well above 40 Newton meters. At one point I was going to give up because I was putting too much pressure on it, and I was frightened of breaking the free up. That must have been on about 70 Newton, 80 Newton meters at least. It wasn't shifting at all. So off camera I've been cursing everything from a pig to a dog, and I've been messing with that for about, I don't know how long, but it's off. And it should be as simple as, and it says on the lock ring, 40 Newton meters, lock it that way, unlock it that way, and it should be as simple as that, but that would not come off at all. But now it's off. So now to fit the new one. So to get the old one off, because this is potentially being thrown in the bin, the first so many are on individually until you get to, I'm not sure what gear it is yet, but that's what the back bit is, one solid piece of metal, which I think is the one after this one. And you'll note that there are spacers in between each one. I'll get these off the free hub, and on the moulded bit of the back that's got 4 cogs on, there's a bigger ring. You see how absolutely filthy that is, so we'll give that a clean up before we put it back together, give it some grease, and then get the new cassette on. Right, so normally when you run a chain a little bit too long. It's normally just that one cog that wears out that makes it skip every time you pedal the bike under any sort of load. And you can buy these, and I bought a few of these and got far more mileage out of a cassette just by replacing that one ring. So the rest of the chain rings don't get anywhere near as much pressure on them as these. But I think Andy's run that chain that long that even just trying to get the chain whip round it to get the cassette off the free hub was, well, I thought I was going to have to pack up. Julie said to me this morning, "You do know what you're doing, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've done this loads of times." Several years later. Right, new cassette onto the free hub. Turn it upside down. These are built in such a way that they'll only fit on in one position, so it's just a case of twisting it round the free hub until it drops into place. Next spacer, etc, etc. So remember, kids, don't try this at home. If you do, make sure you set it to the right Newton meter settings when you're tightening anything up. I honestly thought I was going to snap the free hub. It felt like I was putting that much pressure on it. And then your last one is a bit different to the, well, your second to last one rather, it's a little bit different. It's got that edge to it rather than having a spacer. That one's on, and then your final one before the lock ring nut goes on. And then using your specialist tool, just loosely hand tighten it so it all sticks together before you drop it onto the free hub. So just turn it until it just loosely tightens up, and once it's on the free hub and on the bike, we'll torque it up to 40 Newton meters, not 140 Newton meters. So I think that's what that was on. And voila, one new cassette, one new set of Jockey Wheels. Right, just check the indexing on it. Right, let's go and give it a run down the road. Seems absolutely fine, shifting lovely. Nice and crisp with all the gears. Down again. Just like new. Right. That is how you change a rear cassette in the most difficult way known to man.